Hello, I'm Jamie Black with Soul Adventure, on a mission exploring body, mind, and soul awareness. The other day I had somebody ask me, how did it all start for you? And I got to say, it was back in 2003 when I worked on a youth development tall ship for 10 days. I took my courses by correspondence down to New Zealand, and I came across an organization called the Spirit of Adventure, which is somewhat why I named my business Soul Adventure. And when I heard about this business, I thought, oh my goodness, it's just like what I wanted, and it's even on a tall ship, so I definitely have to go check this out. I headed down to the office, and I requested to talk to the CEO, and I was amazed that he spent 2 hours chatting with this crazy Canadian girl. I was 21 years old. And I said, I need to get on that ship. So a couple months later, he lined me up to work on the ship for 10 days, and it pretty much changed my life. I had been training in a concept called guided discovery. It's an educational tool or a coaching technique that is really unorthodox. It's very different, and sometimes it's actually hard to interact with. But when I stepped aboard that ship, and the captain came to me and he said, you know what, Jamie, I know that you know how to teach sailing. I know that you've been teaching sailing for a few years, but my one invitation to you is put your hands in your pocket and say, I don't know, go figure it out. That was really hard for me to swallow because I really wanted to prove how good I was at sailing. And I ended up initially, telling the kids about what I was capable of and sharing more about, the skills that I had and what I noticed about the boat. But then I realized, you know what? Why not? Just try it on for size. He is the captain of the ship. He must know what he's talking about. So my 10 youth, I was the leader of 10 out of the 40 youth. We sat down one day, and one of the girls she wanted to be an elementary school teacher when she grew up. She confronted me and she said, how come you're not showing us what to do? You said you're a sailing instructor. Why don't you just show us what to do or pull a rope or something? And I said, you know what? I hear ya. And I don't know, you just got to figure it out. And I have never had so much complaint and swearing and crying and defeat feeling, and they were so mad at me. They blamed me for what happened. So that day what had happened was this tall ship had 14 sails, and each day we ran a different section of the boat. So we came to the second mast, and we had 3 huge square sails that we had to pull ropes to switch from starboard tack to a port tack. And as I sat there and watched them, they all decided to pull the wrong ropes. And we backwinded the sails and pretty much turned the boat into what's called heave-to, or hove-to, which is makes the boat basically park in the ocean. It doesn't matter how much wind you have. So they were so livid. They were so mad at me, and they blamed me for that entire experience and quit talking to me. I confronted the captain. I said, you see what's going on with him. What am I supposed to do? He says, you got to stand your ground, and you got to keep saying, I don't know, go figure it out. He says, I promise you it will get better. So a couple of days later, I had the group, and we had switched to a different area of the boat, and nobody was talking to me, and I felt really embarrassed, and I really wanted to practice my coaching skills of what I thought I could teach about sailing. But I really got that this guided discovery, this way of letting anybody develop their own problem-solving skills, it actually improves to a higher extent and last longer in their lives if you let them figure it out themselves. As opposed to the good old-fashioned coaching technique with most organized sports, where you tell them what to do and they forget, and then you tell them what to do again and they forget. It's a lot of up and down and up and down. So it came to the end where it was the night before we were sailing back, and I didn't know that this is what was lined up for us, but because the group of youth were good enough, the captain pulled us all together and said, "We've decided to allow you to sail the boat home," which means that the youth in that program get to take over sailing that boat. And so there were 10 positions at the top. There was 10 or 8 positions at the top. There was the captain, the first mate, the second mate, the engineer, the cook, and then the 4 leaders. And everybody on the boat had to make a vote for who was going to take all those positions. And it turned out that my entire group got the top 8 or 9 positions on that boat. And the captain came to me later that night, and he said, "I've been doing this for 14 years, and I have never had the entire boat of crew vote for one team to take all of the top positions." He said, "You have done exactly what I've asked you to do, and now you see your results." It turned out to be a life-altering experience for me, and was the initial start as to why I do what I do. Guided Discovery is a whole nother way of working with young people to allow them to really step into their own ability and recognize what works and what doesn't work, and allow them to fail and allow them to get mad and hold space for learning. And in the end, they not only are incredibly grateful for what you've allowed them to do, but have also empowered them to take on their lives on their own, to the point where they don't need your guidance anymore, because they become their own guide. So this is a big part of my mission of what I'm doing and what I have been doing for years. And I've now decided to document everything about guided discovery and working with families in the outdoors. So I'm going to keep recording videos, and I really look forward to sharing more of this with my community and people around the world. So join me on my adventure, and please share it if you see this and you'd like to make a comment or share this with somebody else. I am more than happy to take what's going on for me to the next level and change lives. So enjoy the series.